So you might have just picked up your Nintendo Switch 2, and you might be trying to figure out exactly how to use this new beautiful console. Now, here's the thing. Once you've already set up your console, it's pretty easy to kind of understand the Switch, so I'll break it down for you. If you haven't set up your Switch 2 yet, I made a separate video on a step-by-step how to set up your Switch 2, so I'll leave that link down in the description. You can just watch that video and then come into this video if you want to learn how to use the exterior for the most part. Now, on the outside, your Nintendo Switch 2 has a couple of really big features going on. Number one, it has a very large LCD panel. It's 1080p and it's 120Hz. It's touchscreen, multi-touch. It's a very good display. So you have a little bit of bezel around it, nothing crazy. Then you also have the JoyCons on the side of it as well. So these JoyCons are new, but the design, like the language, kind of what they were supposed to be, is still the same. So they're just connected controllers that you can take apart to basically use as separate controllers. They're the same thing as the Switch 1, they're just revamped and just upgraded for the most part. Now the colors are a little different. You can see that the only colors we really get are around the joysticks and not really around anything else, which is kind of surprising. You have the standard D-pad buttons here, you have the ABXY buttons, you have a minus button up here, and you also have the plus button up here. You have a little button down here which allows you to go and take screenshots, which is really fun. You have the home button right here. And you also have this bottom button right here that allows you to go ahead and jump right into game chat. So that's a new feature within the Nintendo Switch 2. It's kind of controversial. You can pay a subscription to basically get access to game chat and voices and stuff like that. And if you have the camera accessory, you can connect it and then use game chat that way too. But me personally, I'm probably not going to buy it. Now, on the bottom, if we go and take a look here, there's a lot of interesting stuff kind of going on here. So you basically have your standard USB Type-C port right here. This is your charging port. This is your docking port. This is probably the port you're probably going to end up using the most in terms of charging and just connecting it to things. There's a top USB Type-C port too, but this is the one that connects to the dock. I'm assuming this one's going to be the one you're going to use the most. You have your fans and your vents and all this other stuff at the bottom as well, which is really cool. But there's not really anything else going on here. On the backside, this is also an interesting type of layout. So just like the Nintendo Switch 1, you now have the kickstand on the back. So now you can go through and pop this kickstand out just like this, and it is actually a really nice kickstand. So it stays right into place. It doesn't feel as cheap as the Switch 1's, and it does actually do a really good job. It kind of, allows you to kind of pick it up all the way up there if you want to. So if you're in portable mode, you can move this around whichever way you want to. And right here, if you take a close look, this is your microSD card slot. This console only uses microSD Express cards. So keep that in mind. It does not use the standard microSD cards. So if you want to go ahead and actually get the, expand the storage here and get the microSD Express cards, plug that in here, and that's essentially going to give you a much better experience here for the most part of playing with these games, rather than using that standard smaller, microSD card, the original one. Now you can pop this thing back up into here, and then you're basically good to go. If you've inserted your card, you should be fine. You should be fine and fun. Now at the top, you have a couple of things here too that are really important to kind of note out. Now in the very top left, you have a game card. So this you can pop up open, and then you can go through and you can insert your game card just right into here. So it uses original Switch games or the Nintendo Switch 2 games. You can insert those right into here and plug and play them. The headphone jack is right up here too, so you can plug in your headphone jack and use your console as you normally would. You have your USB Type-C port right here as well. So you can go through, plug in your USB port right into here. You can charge up this console, you can use this console whichever way you want to. So that is another way. It connects to the cameras and stuff that Nintendo made. So it is kind of cool. You do have that type of capability here. You have another vent and or fan that kind of takes all the hot air out. You have your volume up and down button right up here, which allows you to increase and decrease your volume. And then you have your power button right up here. So that's another really cool thing to kind of think about if you want to hold down this so you can power on and off your console. Now, one other thing I want to show you in the back are the Joy-Cons. The Joy-Cons are a little bit different to take on and take off this year. Now the Joy-Cons you take on and off by using these buttons in the top. So there's a button right here and there's a button right there. These buttons basically push out the Joy-Cons a little bit. There's a magnet inside of them that allow you to kind of push it out. So what this looks like is you click and hold, you press into this particular, button right here. It pushes this thing out. If you let go, it pushes it back in. So if you click it in, it'll push it out, and then you can just pry this thing out like this, and it will take the JoyCon out. If you take a close look, there's a little connection port right inside. I don't know if it's easy to tell, but there's a little port that sticks out, and it connects to this port right here. Now from here, you can go and use your JoyCon as a normal controller. I'll go and flip it over to the front side so you can kind of get an idea what it actually looks like. So if we take a look back here, again, click into this little option right here, it'll pull it out, and then you can go ahead and pull this thing out like this, and then you can use the JoyCon as you normally would. So the JoyCon will still show you the signal right here. It's protruding a little bit more, which is really, really nice, and it feels more like an official controller this way. So I actually like it a lot because of that. So it gives you a lot more functionality, looks much nicer, and that's kind of the main thing to keep in mind here in this particular situation. So in my personal opinion, I think that's a really cool thing. I think it's a good upgrade to connect it back. Just kind of slide this thing in like this, and it will magnetically kind of click into place. So that's kind of everything on the exterior. Now, there are some other big things to keep in mind here too. When you're looking at the particular console, if you go and kind of look, you're getting into your home screen. The top left has your accounts. The top right has some system information. And this area right here will have all your games and your applications inside of it. And the bottom dock will have your Nintendo Switch Online, your eShop, some JoyCon options, your power options, and some system settings as well. So you can kind of go through, and the more and more you use your Nintendo Switch, the more you're just going to kind of understand how it kind of works. A big thing you're probably going to end up doing as soon as you pick up your Nintendo Switch is to basically download some games and download some applications. So what you can do is you can go through and click onto the Nintendo eShop, icon right there, and you can go through and click on your user account, and you can start downloading some games from the Nintendo eShop. So you do have this type of capability right there. You can log into your Nintendo Switch account this way, and you can go through and just log in and sign into your account, and you can download your games from the eShop this way. So in this case, I will go ahead and just log in so you guys can kind of see how it looks like, because it is a little bit of an interesting process of kind of downloading games. If you came from a Nintendo Switch 1, this should look fairly similar for the most part. So this is what the eShop looks like. You can find a game that you like. So in this case, let's say Mario Kart World. I can tap on it, load up the game, and I can go ahead and purchase the game right up there and kind of go down that direction. Now it's funny, I actually think Nintendo could have probably made some more improvements with the eShop since the last generation, because it still is so I feel like they could be spending more time and effort into this, but otherwise, that's essentially how you download games on your Switch. Then you can also mess around with the controller settings. This little small Joy-Con there, you can tap on it, and you can go ahead and change your grip and your order. You can see how much your console is charged, as well as the Joy-Cons. You can also go through, if you're inside of a particular, wherever you are, if you hold down on the home icon right here, it'll bring you into your quick settings. So these quick settings allow you to quickly, turn on or off automatic brightness, to increase or decrease the brightness, to increase or decrease the volume. You can quickly toggle on airplane mode. So those are settings that translate over well to the Switch 1 as well. And if you ever want to hop into your settings, you can click onto your settings icon right here. It'll bring you right into your Nintendo Switch 2 settings. And this is where you can go through and kind of just monitor and kind of modify all the settings that you have within your Switch 2. I think a majority of you might spend a little bit of time here, but I think a majority of you might just turn on one or two settings here and there. It's not going to be that big of a deal. So I'd recommend going through here, understanding all these settings. So the parental controls, data management, controls and accessories, audio, display, all these other options I'd recommend kind of messing around with and just kind of seeing what they are. A big thing though I'd recommend doing is to go through and update your Switch as soon as you buy it. Nintendo will tell you to update anyway, but in case it doesn't, you can click on System right here, click on System Update right there, and basically just update your system this way. And that's another option that you basically have that way as well. So that is essentially how you use your Nintendo Switch 2. So now you should know how to set up your Switch 2 and also how to go ahead and basically, turn on and use your Switch for the most part. So that basically covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, till then.